everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me. You know, today's my favorite day. I do a lot of things, but my favorite, absolute favorite is being the host of On the Record. And thank you for joining us. Today, I'm introducing Sam Rockwell with the Chichi Rodriguez Academy.
Yep.
Sam, thank you so much for being here. We have a very exciting show. We actually also have a student, one of the students from the Chichi Rodriguez Academy.
Correct.
Who's going to be joining us live in the second half of the show. And I'm going to tell everybody how that came to fruition. But first, Sam, I've got to tell you. So, of course, Sam is one of my favorite names because my daughter's name is Sammy. And also, Chichi Rodriguez is born on the 23rd of October. 23, again, one of my favorite numbers because my Sammy is born on the 23rd.
Oh, no kidding.
So I feel all of this is coming together, right?
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. So let's get started. You work with Raymond James.
Correct. Yep.
Financial.
Yep.
But you are also very involved with the Chichi Rodriguez Academy.
Yeah. So I got involved with them mid 2019, and it was kind of an interesting story. I think it probably started years ago when my grandfather taught me how to golf. So I kind of grew up with this passion for golf, and kind of through my love of the game, got introduced to the Chichi Rodriguez Youth Foundation and got to know it a little bit more. It turns out I had no idea what they actually did there. I always assumed it was a golf course and driving range, and got to know the now CEO of the foundation, and he really introduced me to what it really meant to be involved with them. And so I got to learn a little bit more about what they did, and really connected with it. So wanted to get more involved, and that's kind of how I got started with them.
So we have to, and we should share, and we should talk about Chichi Rodriguez and who is Chichi Rodriguez. I mean, clearly he is a very famous golfer, the first one to be in the first Puerto Rican to enter the Hall of Fame. One of 6 kids actually born in Puerto Rico. But for those who may not know and may not be as avid golfers, Sam, can you give us just a snapshot of this amazing man?
Yeah, I think he kind of really was a pioneer of the game. Obviously had great success, on the course, and has really led the charge, of helping found the foundation. Really wanted to give back to youth. Some people may know him as from his kind of famous, celebration, with the sword after making a nice putt. But yeah, I had an opportunity to meet him through the foundation, and just the work that he has put back into helping these kids has been amazing. It really says a lot about him. I think even more so than his success, on the golf course.
No, I think it's very moving because I think that, when you're a public figure and you have such an impact on people, of course it's great to be a fan and to watch what you're doing, but it's what you do with that celebrity that can absolutely make a difference.
Yep.
I was so moved reading about him saying, once again, one of 6 kids and his father only made $18 a week. Mm-hmm. And, he felt so compelled to give back. Why Clearwater, for those who may not know? Why is this academy located here in Clearwater? Because a lot of people don't even know about it.
Yeah, it started back in 1979 as a youth kind of after school program. So he, John Hayes, and a couple other founders, wanted to find a way to kind of keep kids out of trouble after school. So I think it's neat that it started as a I hate to use the term, but kind of a simple program, and it's grown so much since then. The work that they do now is just phenomenal.
And the kids in the program are between the 4th and the 8th grade, correct?
Yep.
And how can they get involved in the program? I mean, do they apply for the program, or what is the process of that?
Yeah, so the foundation serves over 2,200 kids annually, and one of their programs is the Chichi Rodriguez Youth Academy. They have to meet several several different qualifications to be selected for the program, and really I'll boil it down to if they are maybe struggling to excel in a traditional learning environment, that Chi-Chi Rodriguez Academy may be a good fit for them. But in addition to the academy, they also obviously run the driving range, the golf course, and then they operate the Clearwater chapter of the First Tee, which helps connects kids to the game of golf.
So that is so great. And I have to say, the reason why we're doing this show today, as well as I was at, I just graduated from the Small Business Executives Program.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, part of the program was one of your colleagues. It was the program is put on by the Jim Moran Institute, an amazing entrepreneur, and FSU. Well, one of your colleagues came up to me and said, hey, would you participate in a career day? And I said, of course, I'm very passionate about giving back to kids. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be fun, instead of like doing this career day and doing a Zoom, having one of the students interview me live on the show? So before we, and we'll do that after the break again, but explain to us this career day. And is this something that you guys do every single year? Yeah,
so it's, this was something that didn't take place a couple years ago. So after I had joined in 2019, I was asked by another friend to participate in the traditional career day that you hear about it at kind of traditional high schools. Said I'd love to do it and brought it up to the executive committee at the Chi-Chi Rodriguez Youth Foundation. They said, well, we really don't, participate in that. And I said, well, let's create something to bring that to the kids. I think it would be a really good idea and an awesome way to introduce them to people who may, have maybe unconventional career paths. Myself in my undergrad, I was a environmental studies undergrad.
Really?
Yep. So financial advisor now, completely different career path, or at least a start. So we wanted to show the kids, not only is it okay to not know what you want to do now, but there's a reason why you're kind of going through these boring days, where you're taking tests, what is this all for? You're working towards something. So we wanted to connect them with different professionals, both locally and now, we've kind of expanded it. We've interviewed people, all over the U.S., for this. So it's really grown. The first iteration of it was in February 2020, so right before the pandemic. We had 9 people, on campus at the academy, and we had groups of students go from, each person and learn a little bit about what it was like to, be in their shoes for a day. How did they get to, where they're at today? What challenges did they have to overcome? Where did their career path, zig and zag? And then, fast forward, obviously through the pandemic, we weren't able to do that. So we kind of transitioned it to an online kind of virtual experience, which, I think we definitely missed having the person-to-person interaction. But what it did is it enabled us to interview an even broader range of people. Mm-hmm. So we had the director of the Baseball Hall of Fame on. We had Congressman Gus Bilirakis on.
Wow.
So it's been a great kind of, it's been a great transformation from what it started as. And we look forward to getting back in person, having you in person with the kids.
I'm so excited about that.
Yes. So it's offered us a really, I think, a unique way to give something back to the kids.
Well, we were talking before the show started on how I would love to have the students here and to see them.
They would love that.
See them face to face. But I commend the organization for having to pivot during this unprecedented time that we've all experienced. Speaking of that, though, because of what we are going through, the foundation still needs a lot of help, right? And how is Raymond James involved?
Yeah, so we're involved in several different ways. Our chairman emeritus, Tom James, is the chairman of the board of directors for the Chichi Rodriguez Youth Foundation. I had no idea we were that involved. To be honest, we take part in so many philanthropic endeavors at Raymond James. It's hard to keep up with, but I think this was truly a passion project for him. He was one of the kind of the founding members, so to speak, to really take it from a after-school program to where it's at today. But in addition to that, and all of the support that Raymond James gives to the board and a lot of the events, we are also kind of taking part in almost like a day-to-day. We help and we'll volunteer at the academy. The northern Tampa Bay branches are doing what's called RJ Cares Month. And have selected Chichi Rodriguez Youth Foundation as one of the beneficiaries. So we are actually doing a kind of a toy and school supply drive for the kids, in their general store at the academy. So that's a lot of fun, something that's going on right now.
Well, congratulations on being selected. That's also awesome. Well, I'm really excited. Like we're gonna go to a break a little earlier because I'm really excited to bring in Neve, and she's gonna put me on the hot seat basically, and ask me a bunch of questions. So that'll be really fun. So usually I wait for 15 minutes, but quite frankly, I can't wait to have her on.
This is gonna be good. This is gonna be.
So stick with us, guys. We'll be right back. I'm Serena Fazan, and like most people, my skin is a priority. When you look good, you feel good. That's why I turned to South Tampa Dermatology, a full-service medical and cosmetic dermatology practice. Dr. Flynn and her dream team offer the products, services, and procedures I need to keep my skin healthy so I can perform at my very best, and they can do the very same thing for you. It's affordable, and your confidence is priceless. Just head to stderm.com or call 813-872-9551 to make an appointment. I'm Serena Fazan. We're all so busy, and if you're like me, laundry is at the bottom of your to-do list.
If only you could take care of it in a zip, right? Well, I have news for you. With Zips Dry Cleaners in South Tampa, you can. Affordable, fast, and stress-free. That's why Zips is Tampa's favorite dry cleaners. For just 99 cents a pound, Zips will wash and fold your laundry for you. Just drop off your dirty laundry before 9 a.m. and you'll have it back, fresh and clean, the very next day. Have dry cleaning too? Drop it off by 9 a.m. and it will be ready the same day by 5 p.m. for just $2.49 an item.
And even more convenient, Zips will drop off your dry cleaning and your laundry for a small added fee. Zips didn't invent dry cleaning, but they perfected it. Stop by and see for yourself. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are here, Sam Rockwell with the Chichi Rodriguez Academy and Foundation, and it's career day, and so one of the students, Neve, is joining us live. She's 13 years old, and she's joining us live from the Academy. Neve, can you hear us? Oh, there she is. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so I have a 13-year-old as well. So this is, I'm very passionate about this. I mean, see, my little Sammy is going to be 14 in May, but you said you're going to be 14 in November, right? All right, Neve. All right, so we're doing a very unique career day. Mm-hmm. Instead of doing a Zoom or something, I said you should interview me live on the air. But before we get to that, let me interview you for a second. Again, you're 13 years old. You attend the Chichi Rodriguez Academy. Tell us do you know what you want to do yet? Just tell us a little bit about you.
I have two things that I would like to be when I get older. I would want to be a nurse, and I would want to either be a therapist as well.
Very commendable professions on giving back. Okay, Neve, I'm ready. You can start firing away.
Okay. So, how long have you wanted to be a journalist, and how did you get into the business?
Okay, so I moved when I was 2 years old, almost 3. I moved from India to Seattle, Washington. I did not speak a lick of English, so English is actually my 5th language. And but I always loved the news, so I would sit there. Other kids were watching cartoons, but I would sit there and watch Walter Cronkite and Barbara Walters. Neve, I do not expect you to know who they are, but they are premier journalists. And I made a microphone out of aluminum foil, so I taught myself how to speak English by watching the news. So I always knew I wanted to be in news. But the second half of your question on how I got in, it took me 2 years to break in. I mean, I went to college. I went to college in Chicago. There was a whole path that led me there. And I had to work a lot, to put myself through school, and I could not intern. So I didn't have a reel. So at that time, you really needed a reel. So I worked for free at a station 2 hours away in Rockford, Illinois, got a reel together, and then landed my first job in the Quad Cities. I know that's a very long answer, but but that's why I so believe in helping children and having interns, because to give them the hands-on experience. So Neve, sorry, I know that was a very long answer to your question.
Okay, thank you. Another question I have is, were there any challenges you faced growing up or throughout your professional journey?
Yes, there were a lot of challenges, and the challenges were, I was very hesitant to share this story, but now it is publicly out there in a podcast and in an article. But so, I said I was born in India, so I had actually an arranged marriage. Now, I did not go through with the arranged marriage, but I had to make a very difficult decision on choosing career over family. So defied like some cultural odds. So I was on my own at the age of 18. I am reunited with my family now, years and years later. But speaking of the challenges, is that I had to work a lot to put myself through college, which is fine. I mean, it teaches you, right, to be strong. So my advice to kids is, there's going to be curveballs thrown at you throughout your life. It's how you embrace it. So the challenges were financially, I had to get myself through school. I hear from a lot of kids and they'll say, I don't have the money, or I can't go to college. I honestly don't. If college is in your path, where there's a will, there's a way. There are loans, there are grants, there are amazing academies like the Chichi Rodriguez Academy. Through connections, people will help, but you have to make a commitment to your dream. Don't you love all my long answers, Neve?
I like that.
I'm ready for the next one.
Okay, so who were some of the most interesting people you have interviewed?
So I've been really blessed in my career. So I've interviewed a lot of amazing people. I've interviewed every president, going back to President Clinton.
No kidding.
And I have to say, so the President Clinton story, if I could just share one story. So it's my first job, right, in the Quad Cities. And here's how when a president comes into town, what they typically do, they choose one reporter to do the interview. Now here's me, I'm the cub reporter in the Quad Cities. There's the morning anchor, they send me out, and we greet Air Force One. And so the presidential crew comes up to me and said, "You're it. You're the one that's going to interview the president." I'll never forget what I was wearing purple that day. I remember the other reporters looking at me. And again, I had just started in the market, who in the hell is this girl that gets picked to go interview the president? And so, but it was a very cool experience. I have to say, they talk about charisma. The two presidents that I have met that have the most charisma, and I'm not getting into politics at all, but truly were Barack Obama and President Clinton. So they were very interesting. And then I've also done some, really, really, sad stories. In fact, Nancy Grace just had me on her show because I interviewed a mom, sadly. I shouldn't even, but it's been out there, but Neve, who actually executed her children. It was Julie Schenecker here in Tampa. It's the only known interview in the country, in the nation, of a mom that actually did something so horrific. The only other sound bites are usually out of trials. But I had a one-on-one interview with her. That changed me. I've interviewed, sadly, serial killers, but also amazing, athletes. Again, I'm Indian, so when Bollywood was here, I was like the face of Bollywood. At the station that I used to work at, they would send me to Hollywood every single year, so I interviewed, all the people with Dancing with the Stars, and I worked for an
cool.
ABC affiliate. Yeah. Right, so a lot of great people. I'm thinking back, I'm like, boy, I was blessed. Poor Nevaeh's like, all right, okay, these are supposed to be simple answers.
Okay. Why did you leave television news to start your own business?
Okay, so this is a question that Sam, Beth, who works with us, the VP, and I were all talking about. In fact, his son also was in television news. Television news is changing. People are not watching traditional news anymore. I mean, Sam, are you watching traditional news? Like, are you?
No, I
Yeah.
get it from my phone.
Right, it's right on your phone, right? So people are not, I feel like people are not, my generation, when I was talking about, the Walter Cronkite, Barbara Walters of the world, I think a lot of people might be watching their national news, like Lester Holt comes on, you're watching
60
network
Minutes.
news. Right, 60 Minutes, you're watching those shows. But for local news, and believe me, I chose a career over family, so I'm very passionate about the news business, but I feel that people are just not watching local news like they used to. So people are getting it on the phone, on the computer. So right now, you don't even know, for the most part, who the local anchors are for even each of the stations. Like, I get told, and I'm very humbled and flattered by this, but recognized a lot still, even though I've been out of news for 2 years, more than the newer anchors, because people like my age and everything remember that I was on the news. I don't know. I mean, Nevaeh, I would ask you: are you watching traditional news? Do you watch the news at all?
I only watch the news like when big stuff goes down, but I watch it off my phone.
Off your phone, right? So, and you're right. Like, I feel like when there's a hurricane, when there's a hurricane threat, God forbid. I mean, this unprecedented time with COVID. Yes, I think people were tuning in more to their local news, but that's why I wanted to shift with the change. And I really feel I'm so honored to be here, because it's Dream It, Shoot It, Dream It, right? At CP Communications and Red House Streaming. We're carrying my show. You can get on YouTube, Facebook, all the podcast channels. But I feel like I'm doing my job that I love, but I'm trying to transition into the future and how people like you, Nevaeh, and Sam are beginning to get news, creating content that people are choosing, choosing what to watch.
Content is king.
Content is king. Yes. Yes. I hope that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it made sense. Another question. Oh, sorry. Did I cut you off?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Another question I have for you is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start their own business?
Okay, so let me tell you, I never imagined that I would be an entrepreneur, right? So for me, I'm not used to it because I've always worked for stations. So I've been an entrepreneur now for a year and a half. I would say, though, I heard from an amazing entrepreneur yesterday. Jeff Gigante spoke when we got the certificates, and he owns Fabrici and, was part of the Ciccio restaurant group. And I echo what he says. You need to follow your dream. You need to follow your passion. If you follow your passion and if you follow your dream and you refuse to give up, those opportunities will start to come your way. And I can point to this, to CP and Red House Streaming. I was doing a video podcast out of my office in West Armenia, 1906 North Armenia, and the CEO and the general manager watched my show. So then they said, hey, would you kick off this whole, virtual set? I said, of course. So I came in, we did my first show here. They actually built the graphics, and it was right before the Super Bowl. So I said to the CEO, I said, listen, this is an unprecedented time too. The Super Bowl's in Tampa, the host city. I mean, this is amazing. Yeah. Tom Brady's here. Let's do Super Bowl shows every day at noon leading up to the big game. So he said, all right, give me a list of guests. So I gave him a list of guests, and he said, "Can you really get these people?" I'm like, "I can get these people. Don't you worry, I can get these people." We ended up doing 8 shows. But Neve, I did every single one of those shows for free, pro bono. You know, I'm just saying, like, I mean, for me, I'm like, okay, I love it, my job. I mean, I will do it. The reason why I share that, though, that did parlay into an actual contract, and it's my favorite contract here at CP and Red House Communications. So the lesson to the kids, I feel like, even if you think at the time it's not coming back to you, it is coming back. Hard work always pays off. I tell my daughter that all the time. I tell kids that all the time. Even if you think, all right, is this ever going to pay off? I've got, and I understand you have to pay bills. I mean, you have to get money and a revenue stream coming in, but that revenue stream will come in if you stay focused, determined, and passionate about your career and your job.
Can I interject?
Yeah, of course.
So that really speaks to me. What's something that maybe you didn't expect to be as challenging transitioning to being an entrepreneur? What was a hurdle that maybe was unexpected, or looking back you say, wow, that was tough?
So I do have a lot of that, because I know this sounds really, really ridiculous and silly, right? But I am very technically challenged.
Okay.
So getting emails up, I mean, honestly, I've been a wreck. You can ask the team. My email went down. I could not. So again, it's my wheelhouse. Interviewed presidents, serial killers. I mean, love people, charities like this. I could not figure out my email. So when you work at a job, you just call someone up, like you call IT, they get it fixed. I've never had to send an invoice, right? So, and as a journalist, it goes against every grain of my body, my soul and being, to accept money. Because as a journalist, you don't, in old school journalism, you don't even accept a cup of coffee, because you don't want to be swayed one way or the other. So that was a huge hurdle. And understanding, I had Preston Rudy on here, who used to be on Channel 10. He is now the CEO of Catalyst Communications. So he left television news. And he said to me, you have got to appreciate the worth that you bring and all the experience. So there's a difference, right, between being cocky and confident. And so I tell kids this as well, so it's forcing yourself to be confident. And confidence is a very attractive trait. Neve, if you're 13 years old, if you're 33 years old, you're 93 years old, people are attracted to confidence. And I think that translates into business. Don't you feel, Sam? Like, even if you're not feeling confident.
Of course, of course. No, I think, confidence is extremely important in really whatever you do. So yeah, I would totally agree.
So does that answer your question?
It does. It really does.
I really am still trying to figure my way, through that. But to also answer that, like with the email situation and everything, it's the people who you have around you. So you surround yourself with people who, I have the best team ever, right? So poor Gabriel the other day, sitting there, my friend Joe Papadopoulos too, trying to figure out my email. So I hope I can give that back in my strengths, right? But that would also be my advice, is surround yourself with people that can help in your weaker areas, so you can focus on your stronger areas.
Of course. Yeah, I think, just as important as, confidence is, surrounding yourself with a team that can kind of help pick you up in other areas, and a team that fosters collaboration, I think is extremely important.
Yeah, for sure. So Neve, do you have another question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Why is your show your favorite part of your business?
Oh my gosh, I love this show because of people like you. Seriously, this is so great. And thank you for asking that question, because we always say on the show, I think we're up to 80 episodes or almost 80 episodes. I have said on the show so many times that if you would like to be featured on the show, reach out, because we will reach out back to you. So that's how all of this show came to fruition. And it is I love it. I think I love the show so much. Well, not I think, I know I love the show so much because the reason why I love being a journalist so much is interviewing and meeting all sorts of people, all sorts of walks of life. Like, we were talking about the president, sadly the criminals, but like interviewing the mayor, interviewing the chief, interviewing the mom next door that bakes the cookies for the military overseas. Every single day is a new day. It's real people, real stories, and this show is unscripted, unedited, and we can go as long as we want, we can go as short as we want. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was coming on, I was okay. Is there anything I need to prepare? And she's like, nope, this is totally, off script. I was like, okay.
Yes, and and that is even to my friends like in the newsrooms, right? They're like, really, nothing is scripted. Listen, I have never scripted questions in my entire career, and I remember, even when going back to when Hillary Clinton was running for president, they asked me to script questions, and I said, I'm not going to script questions. And they said, well, you could lose the interview. And I said, then I'll lose the interview because I'm not going to script questions. So I feel that things that are unedited and just, off the cuff, how much fun is this, right?
Yeah, it's much more natural, that's for sure.
Yes. So, Neve, any more questions?
Yes. Who do you like to invite on the show?
I like to invite everybody on the show. Again, everybody on the show. Sam, that was so sweet of you when you were saying that you were watching the show with Julie Weintraub, of course, the owner of the Golden Diamond Source. And so sadly, during a photo shoot in Hyde Park, a lot of my jewelry was stolen. It was swiped. So unbeknownst to me, she's a guest on the show. I want to talk to her about her charity organization. And she presented me with a ring. And a green ring, because my colors are green, my eyes are green. That's how the whole green thing started. Not that I would ever expect anything, but amazing. And I respected her for years, talked to her for years on, a domestic violence campaign. Again, I've mentioned several guests. We had Preston Rudy. It's every single day is a new day, and I love having different guests on this show. That's why it's, on the record. So everything we talk about is on the record. And underneath that category, we have several categories. Love in America, which I love. And I'm going to end on something with you, Sam. Love in America, which I talk to couples and, their advice. Andrew and Alex Warren. Andrew, the state attorney, of course, and his wife, Alex, were on a special Valentine's Day episode. I have Dating in America for people who are dating. I have an Inspiring Women series. I have Law and Order. But they all go under the On the Record umbrella.
That's cool.
I love it. So, Neve, any more questions?
Yes.
I love it. Okay.
Okay. What are some experiences in your past that you draw from that help you be successful?
I think there's so many, right? So with television news, a lot of times you would get put out, you would be assigned a story. And when you're assigned a story, you're assigned that story. And you've got to deliver. And at that time, and still, the deadline is 5 o'clock. If you don't make air at 5 o'clock, and especially in a market this size, it could cost you your job. I'll never forget this story. He's a news director right now at Channel 8 WFLA, Dave Ciliberti. I called him up. I remember it was a horrible, it was a tragic story in Tampa, and he sent me out to go get some interviews. So I call him up at 2 o'clock. And again, I'm live at 5. I'm like, Dave, I can't get anybody to talk to me. I really can't get anybody to talk to me. And he's like, And he's the assistant news director. He's like, okay, I'll see you live at 5. Click. I was like, there is no choice in the matter. So to answer your question, Neve, I think that life experiences, like that experience, I remember looking at my videographer, and he's like, we better find something. So I remember, and sure enough, we were the lead story live at 5. Now, it taught me that failure is not an option.
Yeah.
You have to deliver. If you are given any type of assignment, whether it's a school assignment, it's too hard to do the school assignment. No, you find a way to do it. There's always a way to do it. So those life experiences of having to work 4 jobs, right, to go get through college. I could have sat there and felt sorry for myself, and I could have said, oh gosh, you know, and look at this friend who doesn't have to work 4 jobs. You can look at the glass half full or half empty. I always choose to look at it half full and try to pursue at the very top. You know, I do look back a lot, and I shouldn't look back. My daughter always says to me, you live in the past too much, and I do need to move in the forward. I need to follow my advice a little bit more, but I hope that answers your question. I think it just boils down to never giving up.
Yeah, I think it's amazing what people can do when they're kind of pushed into a corner and, you know, given a bad set of, a bad hand in life. And I always think it's amazing to see what people can do in those scenarios. Oftentimes you find, maybe your best self, in that scenario.
Absolutely, absolutely. Neve, any more questions?
I have one more question for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
So you said you interview serial killers. I would like to ask you, like, who are the serial killers that you interviewed?
Okay, so that's a really good question, right? So over the phone, I interviewed Ted Bundy before he, died. Jeffrey Dahmer was another one. Those were over the phone, though. But here, there was a guy, he wanted to die by the electric chair rather than execution. Why am I blanking out on his name? But if you search my name, you'll see it. I interviewed him face to face. I was with one of my favorite photographers, Eric Moore, and we were in a room. It's on death row, right? Because he's on death row. Yeah. And I never get scared of this kind of stuff. And so the guard is on the other side of the window, and I'm sitting with this guy. And he's chained up and everything, and I remember Eric like really inching closer to me because the questions I have a very affable personality, but listen, I can be tough. So I'm asking him these questions, and he's trying to inch in with the chains, and I can see like the guard is turned around. So he was also one. Let's see. Sadly, John Cooey, who buried a girl alive. He lived in Sarasota, Jessica Lunsford. The only known correspondence from him is a letter he wrote to me. I also interviewed teachers, sadly, Stephanie Ragusa, the one that used to smile all the time and was accused of abusing students. I had an exclusive interview with her in prison. Julie Schenecker, of course, who executed her children, and there's been more. There's been more. I think if you just search my name, the Hiccup Girl. Well, she's not a serial killer, but she was the one that had the hiccups. Everybody was trying to help her. She went to the Today Show. She went to Good Morning America, and then she ended up killing somebody. She didn't actually pull the trigger, but she was with a guy she was interested in. He pulled the trigger, so now she's in prison as well.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So, but we shouldn't end on a sad note. Is that your final question, Neve?
Yes.
Okay,
But
so
thank you for having me.
You're
I'm sorry,
more
did I cut you off?
No,
So
I'm
sorry.
sorry. No, thank you for interviewing me, and I hope you get a chance to come into the studio.
Yes, me too.
Love your smile. I'm sure you probably didn't anticipate the answers being this long, but I certainly hope that you did gain something out of it.
I did.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. So Sam, she was adorable.
She was. I think that's amazing. Kind of giving them an opportunity to be in my seat. It's something they'll probably look back on pretty fondly.
I hope so. And thank you for giving me the opportunity again.
Of course.
I'm so humbled and flattered by it. And before we wrap up the show, so I asked Sam before the show, I said, so Sam, congratulations on your marriage. You've been married now for 2 years.
Yep.
What is your wife's name? We've got to give her a shout out.
Sarah.
So Sarah, hello. And so you do not have children yet, right?
No, we don't.
But clearly you love kids.
Yes.
You love kids. Well, I just want to say it was such a pleasure having you on.
Thank
I know
you.
that there's likely, because you have nieces and nephews, and there could be kids in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for everything that you guys do. How can, as we end, how can people help?
Of course. So, I invite everyone to learn more about the foundation, chichi.org. We'll give them information on the academy, the foundation, and then obviously, if you're looking to book a round of golf, the proceeds go back to the foundation, either at the driving range or the golf course. It's in great shape, lots of fun. So. Spread the word about it. Like I had mentioned, I had no idea what what the driving range, did, what it supported. I had no idea that there was a school right next to the first tee over at the golf course. Had no idea that they operated the first tee of Clearwater. So spread the word about it. You drive by it every day. If you're going down McMullen Booth, I think it's so special. What they do for these kids and how they help. So spread the word. Come out and play some golf and visit chichi.org.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I encourage you guys all to share this podcast as
Yes.
well so we can
Yes.
spread the message about Chi-Chi, and everything that you do. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching. This has been one of my longest and most fun shows. That's why I'm so glad it's not traditional television. It's not only just half an hour. But have a really, really great day. You can, of course, watch me and, watch what we're doing on all my social media platforms. Sam, is that not so cool what the guys created? I just didn't realize I was on that many platforms.
You're everywhere.
I'm everywhere. Again, thank you everybody so much. We will see you next Wednesday.